guys, Raphael here of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Did you say podcast? Dudettes! You're listening to the podcast on the Geekcast Radio Network. Cowabunga!
Welcome to The Pullbags, Back Issue Classics. Join us as we talk about comics from yesteryear, from DC, Marvel, and more. So open your ears to hear our discussion of the older continuities, as the Back Issue Classics are also what's in The Pullbag.
Hello and welcome to The Pullbag. This is yet again one of those Back Issue Classics episodes, and I know everyone's kind of like probably done with this podcast after May, considering I released 13 podcasts celebrating the 75th anniversary of Batman. Promise, ladies and gentlemen, that'll never happen again. That's too much work on my end, actually. I am your host, DFU Mike, and joining me is Joe Reed. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you?
I'm tired. Yeah, very.
That's what
very
you get
tired.
for working that hard for Batman month.
Yeah, I know, right? 75 years. Ugh. Alright, so we are here once again to go back into the sewers and maybe even to other dimensions, because we are here to talk about Micro Series Volume 2, Part 2 here in the Pullbag, which is April and Fugitoid stories, plus Volume 5, which is Krang War.
Yay.
Yay! First up, we're going to tackle the two single stories, not really single stories, but the two micro-series stories of April and Fugitoid. Since you have to read those before you can read Krang War, apparently. This reading order really sucks when collecting it in trade. So, April, the cover that I have in the trade, at least in the order of the book, has April sitting next to the front of her van with the turtles inside, and she's got mutagen in her hand. It's a nice cover.
Yeah, another one by David Peterson of Mouse Guard fame. I like his take on them. Although whenever there's not a human in the picture, everything he draws looks like it's the size of a mouse. Like, there's just that much hatching and detail work that everything looks so small. I don't know how he does it with just line like that, but...
Yep. And we open with April looking like a turtle with an orange. Why is Mikey wearing a red wig?
Well, I looked at that with the girl-looking turtle, and I thought, Venus de Milo? No!
Don't say that name. Oh my god. It's a nice little nod to Venus, though, I guess. Because April is dreaming, and she says, "No more pizza at bedtime." She goes on to say, "Strange dream, like my reality isn't." I like the art in this. It's the turtles here would you say they're more animated than they were in previous stuff that we've covered?
Yeah, there's less hatching, and I'm looking at their anatomy thinking they don't look giant muscle-bound. They're tinier, skinnier, and I like that.
Yeah, they don't look like they're 10 feet tall, and April faints at the side of, "It's just a mask, it's just a mask, okay?" Yeah.
Oh god, I wish it were!
So we go to the fact that either is she picking them up, or what is she doing? Because it says on the first page, what a strange dream, strange reality. And then all of a sudden she's in the van and the turtles are in the van. So how did the time progress there? That makes, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, and I can't even, I'm not entirely sure what she's doing with them. I think she's taking them to StockGen Labs where she's still working, and they're going to sneak in and get information. But then she gets in and goes in and starts poking around like she would.
Like she owns the place. I like that. There's a lot of. Well, I don't know if there's a lot of '80s nods in this, but I love the '80s nod on this page. The fact that Donnie's trying to figure out the Rubik's cube, because Rubik's cubes are not something you see children playing with today.
They make electronic ones now where you push buttons on them, and then if they're just glowing lights that move around, it doesn't actually move.
That is so lazy. Oh my god, what culture are we living in where, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a lazy person, but even I would get a real Rubik's Cube. Oh my god. So yeah, April goes to Stockton, and I love her narration. She's basically, oh, don't mind me, just a regular employee, work with you every day, etc., etc., etc. It's surprised. See, I didn't think she was still working for. I must have missed something, or I must have forgot something between what we're doing right now and what we've done previously. Because I thought she didn't work for StockGen anymore.
I think well, she's an intern, so I think she can kind of take time off, and they don't really notice. But I don't know, maybe it's just one of those things that happened in the background of the comic book. Through comic book magic, we are just to assume that she had still been going to work or something like that.
Yeah.
On this page where she's walking around the office, being a fan of the old Archie series, growing up watching that, I immediately recognized where this was going when she was in that fish tank, or in the turtle's old tank, and she picked up the little plastic palm tree, because that was a symbol for who shows up at the end of this book. But it's a nice nod, and I absolutely adore how this series continually picks up from every single Turtleverse. It pulls from a little bit from here and a little bit from there, and here we have a nod to the Archie series. Not the Turtles at their best, necessarily, but they still pay homage to it and give respect to the cool parts. And
yeah.
So where this goes...
Yeah. So April meets up with Chet. Now, I gotta say, when we first met Chet way back when, I thought he was gonna turn into a John Glover acted role in Batman Forever, or not Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. He was Jason. He was the scientist that Pamela Isley killed in the beginning of the movie. I know everyone wants to forget Batman and Robin, but
I did forget it, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, anyway, John Glover plays this guy, this demented scientist in the movie, and I swear the first time I saw Chet way back when, I was like, hey, because to this point and up until what is revealed about Chet, I had zero interest in this character.
And I think that's almost the point, really.
So April, basically she pulls a few blonde moments, even though she's a redhead, and she gets him to spill his coffee and trying to find out all these secrets and everything else, and he then, what happens here? All the lights get turned out, and we see this StockGen stuff. These different vials and not canisters, but different vats and everything else. And some are successes, some are failures. And she says, "I'm sure you didn't mean for that to happen. No one's blaming you. I can help you clean it up. Everybody out. You can come back when we give the all clear." So we go. Is it just me, or is April drawn differently?
Yeah, this is a different artist on the inside.
Right.
This is not the April from... not the artist from our usual run.
From the ongoing. But see, here's the thing.
Zarcone.
Yeah.
Zarcone.
Here's the thing, though. This artist is drawing, it seems to me, between the panels where she makes Chet spill his coffee and all that stuff, to the panels coming up with the turtles, it looks like the artist did a completely different design, because she looks slightly more, I don't want to say adult, in the Ron Jeremy kind of way, but she I don't know, her face just looks completely different on this page where she's sitting around with the turtles. And the turtles themselves also look different here. I don't know, it's just weird.
Maybe it's just up to the artist having put too much time between two different pages. Yeah, Marley Zarconi, the artist, is it's a lady artist, which we haven't seen yet. That's interesting and cool.
Mm-hmm. So she's basically telling them what happened at Stock Gen. And Donnie's basically saying, I told you we needed to pay attention to that turtle tracker tech. I miss the old T-phones. I miss the 87 T-phones.
I always wanted to make one of those.
I wish they actually had. I mean, hell, if they can make friggin' Talk Boy from Home Alone 2, they could have made a T-phone.
You mean the Turtle Coms from the 80s cartoon?
Yeah.
I think the ones from the 4Kids version are called the T-phone, and they're like more like a cell phone. The ones in the 80s, it was like a shell, but the shell split apart vertically, and the screen was in the middle. God, I always wanted one of those as a kid. That was
I know.
I had one of my mom's ring boxes, one of those snap closed jewelry little fabric things that I made a turtle com out of. It was very cheesy.
Yeah, the only reason why I say a T-phone is because that's what Mikey names everything now in the new series.
Yeah. So the whole time she's explaining what's going on, what she did that day for the turtles, we're getting these snippets of a three-fingered hand hitting the side of one of those vats that shorted out when she spilled the coffee, and now we have eyes opening behind the label of Stock Gen in those vats. So whatever is going on at the apartment over at the labs, this thing is waking up.
Yeah. And we then... So we go back to the labs, and she's... Is she attempting to sneak in again?
It looks like she's sneaking in again, yeah.
Oh, that's... Okay, then. So she sneaks in again.
She has a stolen pass, so I think she has a higher clearance, which is why she's sneaking in.
Right, yeah. And one of the stone soldiers catches her and sets off the alarm.
Which is, like, she doesn't even bat an eye when she walks in and sees a rock soldier there. Like, really? When has she ever seen one of those?
Yeah. She said, her monologue says, I revised my earlier assessment. My name is now totally screwed. No stone gun. Maybe he thinks I bolted for the exit. Where am I? What is this? And so she finds all these vials of mutagen and everything else, and the stone soldier catches up to her. Says, I told you to halt. I love how the writing is in this. I love how her monologue is, like her internal monologue. That's so. It's an interesting way to further her character without having her needing to interact with the turtles to tell part of her story.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like that. The art is slowly growing on me with this one. I mean, I like it overall, but it's slowly getting better page by page.
On the bottom of the page where she squirts the foot soldier with the gas out of whatever that was, there's the picture below that where her foot is up in the air. There's a hole in her heel, and it looks suspiciously like an action figure peg hole. I wonder if that was deliberate.
Yeah, probably. I don't think Playmates has done comic or IDW figures yet.
No.
I don't know. I don't see why they wouldn't, because okay, sure, you've got the Nickelodeon line, but I mean, hell, if the IDW Transformers comic characters can have Transformers figures, then I know it's two completely different companies, But I don't know. I Oh, that wasn't April. Okay, I was gonna say her hand would be really hurting right about now, but that wasn't April that punched the stone warrior. That's our new friend there. Should we just go ahead and say it? It's probably Slash.
It's Slash,
Yeah.
who apparently grew up in that little tank too and loves his little palm tree.
Yeah.
Great nod to the Archie series.
Oh yeah.
I am flipping to the last page here. I don't like her take on Slash. I think the one that we get to see. Actually, did we read that, you and I, with Slash, didn't we? Yeah, I like that look. Much, but he's 12 feet tall and gigantic and evil looking.
Yeah, and it doesn't help here with now the art on Slash here. He's not as menacing. He's basically, if you took Leo, Raph, and Donnie and stacked them all together
and gave him pointy teeth and spikes.
Yeah, he's not. No, the design on Slash here kind of stinks. So the final part of it is what I do now is who's going to be there to stop them? 4 talking humanoid turtles and a hockey player with issues, and me. I do love the alternate cover though. The art by Marley Zarcone, her alternate cover. It's April holding a stock gen vial or canister, and Slash is looking through a hole in the thing. I really do like that. It
looks like he's wearing a hoodie in that, so I'm not entirely sure.
No, that's part of the hole in the wall, I think. Yeah, that's part of the hole in the wall, and he is just in... Oh, you mean the line around him?
The line that's to the right of his face. Yeah,
no, I don't think that's a hoodie, because I think that's part of the ripped wall there.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at here it's an inch tall, so it's kind of...
Yeah. All right. Overall, I like the April story. It's interesting. It's nice to see her out on her own. I mean, sure, the turtles were there, and I don't think Casey was he?
Not in this one, no.
I don't remember. Obviously, she mentions him and talks about him, but I don't remember seeing him here. So, overall, I like the April issue. I thought it was pretty good. Moving on to the Fugitoid. The first cover I have is basically the Fugitoid being a Metal Gear Solid soldier with his little question mark or exclamation point. I swear, every time I see any character, doesn't matter what franchise it is, anytime I see a question mark or an exclamation point like that, the first thing I think of is Metal Gear Solid. And his story starts... I've always thought of myself as a good man, a man who knows how to do the right thing. But it's easy to do the right thing when evil is an abstract notion, when courage and sacrifice are theoretical concepts. Over the past 2 years, I've seen more evil than I could have ever imagined. It's become a part of my daily existence. I like the designs on the Fugitoid here. Mm-hmm. I think they're really cool. He's always been a character that's somewhat interested me. The only time I've really seen him is the 2003 series.
And I never saw that one.
You've never seen the 03 series?
I've seen the first season of it, and then it disappeared from my consciousness. Don't know why. And I started, I don't know, I streamed it somewhere, episode 1, and it was like, it's okay, it probably needs to take off a bit. But as I've been reading, I just finished reading the entire Mirage run, and in the letters column, Peter Laird's constantly talking about how he is helping, assisting, writing, producing the cartoon, the 4Kids cartoon, and so hearing him talk about all that, it's like, man, a lot of love went into those episodes. I really need to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And interesting with the volume 4, I think they call it. They numbered it weird. The Fugitoid is a huge character in the Ninja Turtles mythos in the actual old Mirage run. A ridiculously important guy. So it's kind of... I haven't actually read this since I read some of those last issues, but...
And his story continues where it starts off 2 years ago. He says, "I've been a scientist my entire life who used to bring me such joy." His name is Dr. Honeycutt, and he's working on several different experiments. He's mostly working on an experiment to transfer his brain into a robot body. Wow, I'm getting flashes of Transformers G1 episode Only Human. Oh my god. And he is working for Krang, General Krang at this point. And he was actually human. He did have a family. And they want him to do stuff he's not comfortable with doing, pretty much.
Well, we should be careful with the human thing, because I think with the pointy ears there, he's a neutrino.
Okay, he's a neutrino.
Yeah, or wait, what do they call? Oh, they call him something different in... but I think he's a neutrino, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. He's not a robot.
He's not a robot. Yeah.
He's Vulcan, that's what he is.
Yeah,
he's
they're Vulcan. That's exactly what he looks like. He looks like evil Spock.
Oh, God.
Good luck getting that out of your head now.
Yeah, no. That's just bad. Alright, so... his wife basically wants him to tell his son about what's going on and what he's had to do.
As they're standing over the construction of what looks a whole lot like a technodrome back there.
Yeah, that's why the Krang... oh God. I'm pulling into the 2012 series, people. That's why General Krang needs him. He's having him build this humongous technodrome.
That's no moon.
Oh, God. You had to go there, didn't
you? When the turtles eventually see it, that's going to be the joke. At least I hope it is.
Oh, my God. Oh. So we have an accident that happens, and basically he decides to not work for Krang, and he goes off and does his own thing, but Krang finds him and ends up destroying him, and he says, in the command center, which is that way, that I'm going that way. Those flames will kill you. You won't survive. Not in this body. As soon as I read that line, I'm like, oh, hell. That's how he ends up being the robot.
Yep. Very similar to the Fugitoid in the Mirage series. He was a humanoid thing that put himself in the robot body and then got trapped there because his base or home got destroyed by... and that one is the Triceratons, but...
Oh, okay.
So very similar. I think it ends up being a shape-shifting robot, or he can...
He's basically... Yeah, he's basically like friggin' Zeta from the Zeta Project.
Gosh, you've name dropped 3 things that I need to go watch tonight.
No, you do not need to go watch the Zeta Project. No. If you want to learn about Zeta, all you got to do is watch the Batman Beyond episode Zeta. You do not need to watch that series. It is so bad. You want to talk about bad cartoons. That is one of the #1 bad cartoons. So, Honeycutt... his family is stuck. The door won't open. He's finding the override codes, He's like, that does it. Does that do it? And I think at that point, after I read that line, I'm like, okay, that's where eventually he's going to get his speech impediment. Because he has a severe speech impediment. So his family doesn't. The rock soldiers show up, screw everything up. His family doesn't end up surviving. He can only just stand there while his family basically dies, and he decides to survive, and he goes through a portal and ends up with the neutrinos. And then one of them is saying, "Are you fellas promoting a movie? Look at the costumes!" Like, wow. I'm still really digging the art in this. I love the reds, the blues, the gold of the Fugitoid, the backgrounds, the people. All the neutrinos here look great.
There's a really nice purple and yellow color palette on the next page. That's quite nice.
Yeah, there is, very much so.
Talking to you is maybe pay attention to the colors slightly more on purpose.
Like I told you last time when we did Volume 4, when I sit down to read these to know what the story is before we record the episodes, I read it for the story, and then as we go through it, I then make my assessments of the art as I go through it, because I already know the story. So we get to the fact of 18 months ago, and General Krang is basically informing Baxter about the Fugitoid, and we see Chet in the background. I love Baxter's line though. I really dislike that man. Talking about Krang.
So that's the origin of the word Fugitoid. That's not his name. I mean, it was in the 80s cartoon, but he's a fugitive android, so that's like a contraction. But his name is Professor Honeycutt, and he is the Fugitoid, which I think the old comic, the old Fugitoid one shot made that clear, and none of us ever knew that growing up. I had that Fugitoid toy. He was a cool one. The chest opened up and the little red things plugged into it, and he had all those claws and guns that strapped to him.
Wow. So where do we go from here?
Oh, well, yeah, while we're talking about Fugitoid and the old design, there is, on the MirageLicensing.com website, you can, for $15, order a Fugitoid little statue. It's about the size of an action figure, totally chrome silver, and when you buy it, it's autographed Peter Laird, and I think it comes with an autographed comic of some sort, as well as a freebie. But I think it's $15 shipped, and totally awesome.
So have you bought it yet?
Oh, of course I did. I bought that a long time ago.
So we get his exchange between Chet and Baxter, and we go to the present day, and he's basically running around. He's trying to find. He says that I realized my robot body wasn't a curse. Not as long as not at all. As Honeycutt, I couldn't get near Krang or anyone he knows, but in this body. And it goes, hi, my name is Chet. Chet Allen. He's expecting me, and it's really interesting. And then we get to the fact of where he injects Splinter and the Turtles, and he's talking in his speech impediment because his vocal box, I guess, was damaged in the explosion. So there is that. He says, my wife was right. Fighting evil is never easy, painful and ugly. Sometimes you have to make compromises. Okay, that is Leo. Where is he? Where is the rat? Because this takes place when Splinter was kidnapped, right?
It's a flashback, so it takes all of it takes place whenever they need it to.
Yeah. Find Splinter, and then we see him with the foots. Like, I wasn't expecting this last page. I honestly wasn't. We see him with the foot soldiers and Shredder. And he says, "This isn't the right thing to do, isn't it?" And it ends.
Yeah, going to the Foot Clan to help bring down the Krang.
Yeah, it was interesting.
I think that's going to lead to putting the two bosom buddies together eventually.
Oh boy. And then
I don't think it's happened yet.
No. And then we have the alternate cover, which is just the Fugitoid with a black and green background, kind of a spotlight. The trade has some interesting stuff after that. It has Splinter designs by Charles Paul Wilson III. 2 full pages of that. It has Casey and April sketches and samples. And the last page is Fugitoid concept art by Paul McCaffrey.
I'm jealous.
Overall, the April and the Fugitoid stories are really great, setting up those characters. April, because of the artist and constantly changing, at least to me, constantly changing how the way April looks throughout the book, and the fact that Slash just doesn't look how he should look. He doesn't, like, when we see him full on, it's like, oh, you're not menacing at all. You're just a big dumb giant. Come on now. I'm gonna give April probably 4 out of 5, which is, I think, really liked it. What about you for April? Final thoughts?
Oh, that breaks my heart with your really like it being 4, because that means I probably should give it a 3, because it's a necessary read, but it just doesn't, I don't know, ring like the other series do. It's important because it's an important story that ties up to so many other things in all of the books, so you need to read it. But it's not special.
It's not special, no. I mean, I could probably go down to a 3.5, which is liked it, and 3 is basically barely passing. 3 is
okay. 3.5 then. Yeah, I didn't know there were half scores there.
Yeah. I can deal with 3.5. The art the designs, the constant change just wasn't.
I didn't notice the constant change, but I do like how human April looks in that it's not like cartoony. And I think that just comes from, well, I hate to sound sexist, but it comes, I think, from the female artist being more familiar with that than when I try to draw women. It just doesn't work. It's because that's not what I usually draw. I don't have the practice at it, but she's
right.
Good at it, and thankfully I didn't notice the inconsistency. And I don't mind her turtles, because I would rather see the turtles look like skinny teenagers who are exceedingly flexible and athletic, not built Arnold Schwarzeneggers with shells.
I'll be back.
I can't even do an Arnold Schwarzenegger saying cowabunga. Cowabunga. No.
For Fugitoid, I don't want to give it a perfect. It's not a bad book. It's not a bad story. I like seeing this. I think what's great about it with the writing is his struggle to do trying to figure out what the right thing is to do or who the right people are to go to. So I like that. I don't know. I'll give it another 3.5.
I agree.
I liked it. It was good. There weren't too many art issues for me with that one, so we'll have to see. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about Volume 5, Krang War.
Now, to gain the power of Dimension X. Stop them! After all, not so fast.
Bail out!
Boy, and I thought we were weird looking. Okay, Bebop, let's turn these rock faces into gravel.
Nah, this place is Dullsville, man. Let's cut out.
Southeast, April.
Roger Dodger.
He must have stopped the Technodrome under the Global Trade Center.
That's one way to get a parking space.
Stop! Oh, we was just starting to have fun. Shut up! You are Krang Stone Warriors, are you not? Yeah, so? There is something I must show you. We've got to catch those kids.
Technodrome must be right under that tower.
That subway's the only way down.
Let's do it!
Am I seeing things, or do we just get buzzed by a couple of rocket-powered lowriders?
You aren't seeing things.
What strange plan is the Shredder hatching this time?
I don't know, but we better find out.
Got it, April!
Those kids must be around here somewhere.
Krang!
They couldn't have just vanished. Oh, sorry, Lord. Lord Krang!
Don't look at me!
My lord, what has happened to your body?
It's a long story. I lost it when they banished me to this miserable mud bowl.
Those three youths just blasted their way right out of my Technodrome.
The neutrinos have eluded us! Neutrinos? Running loose here on Earth? Sucker, you imbecile!
What did I do? Who are these neutrinos?
A gang of juvenile delinquents from Dimension X. They're a threat to everything we stand for.
They hate war.
They refuse to join any army. And what's worse, they encourage people to have fun.
Alright, folks. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Volume 5, Krang War by Eastman and Waltz, and we'll talk about the artist here in a minute. The cover on the trade is very looming, explosive piece of Krang because it's Krang's brain spewing out of his chest. This model, the robot body model, the face, it reminds me, and I can't believe I've made 2 Metal Gear references now. It reminds me of Big Boss from Metal Gear for some reason, and when he was in that giant gray suit in one of the games.
I don't think I played that one.
I think it was in Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty. Yeah, that's what it was.
He looks like one of those mask-wearing Sith from the Star Wars animated thing that I haven't watched all of yet.
Yeah. I mean, I like the cover. It's a cool cover. It just, I don't know, the design on Krang in this series is on the robot body is a little strange to me. So now this is just exclusively for the trade, so you don't think that think that, oh my god, I don't have that. The opening page, the illustration on the trade is Mikey saving the princess.
Oh, I don't have that either. That comes inside the book.
Daddy.
What?
Yep.
Oh.
You hear it? Good night.
Night, night, Oliver. Sorry.
It's all right. Children in podcasting, yay!
Hey, that was myself having to say goodnight.
Yes.
About the Krang design, I'm neutral about the robot body because it's Krang that I'm interested in as a character.
Yeah.
But I thankfully I'm not upset by it. But interesting point of fact, if you're following the Krang character when we first saw Krang first time, it was in the cartoon, and But in the comic, in the Mirage comic, there are all of these things that aren't named Krang called Utrom, and they're brain thingies. And all of these wonderful things I'm learning in the letters column to the old Mirage book. Krang in the animated series was not an Utrom. He's not a species of brain creature. They say he was actually an evil warlord who had his brain removed from his body, and he, to keep himself alive, found these different ways to do it. This Krang in this series is an Utrom, and there's more of these brain critters, but the Utrom in the old books aren't brains. They're just pink, slimy, tentacled creatures, so it's not actually a brain. When you, I suppose if you cut them open, you might find something that actually is a brain inside. I don't know. And then we have the Krang from the 2012 series, where that's like all they say and what they're called and whatnot, which is an interesting take on it. And as far as the covers, if you were reading this single issue, you were surprised, completely taken aback by this cover because it shows who we all know as the hot-rodding teenagers from Dimension X. And my little brain is going, no! This is gonna be terrible! Those characters are stupid!
Well, see, here's the thing. As soon as I read this, I was like, yup, I gotta go back to the 87 series and capture the quote where Krang says, neutrinos, and what's worse, they hate fun. Or they love to have fun. They hate... Oh, God. So this collects issues 17 through 20. The opening credits for the trade, specifically, it's Kevin Eastman, Tom Waltz, script by Waltz, art by Ben Bates. So another new artist. I don't mind it since it's like arc by arc.
Yes, thank God.
Colors are still by Rhonda Pattison. Letters are still by Sean Lee. Edits done by Bobby Curnow. The picture on this in the trade is basically a very large face shot of Krang screaming, red eyes. His tongue looks like it's going to dart out at you. It's like he's coming at the camera. You know how they do, those in-your-face camera shots sometimes? Mm-hmm. That's what it looks like. Now, the cover that I have in the trade, it's an orange... it's an orange background cover with... Is it Mikey and Leo? Yeah. It's Mikey and Leo, and it says Krang War.
In this series, there is nothing that calls it Krang War, which is interesting because I think all the others did have subtitles. Mm-hmm. The first actual page that I see is on planet Neutrino with ships and ground-to-air missile laser blasters. Right.
And it's interesting. It really, I was like, when I think of something called Krang War, I'm thinking like, I don't know, I wasn't thinking of the Utroms versus the Neutrinos. I really wasn't at all. I was really surprised by this story, and at the same time, I was kind of taken out of it a little bit because I'm like, well, we have all this stuff going on Earth, and now you're going to send them to Dimension X? Really? Now is when you're going to do this? I don't dislike it. It just... I don't know. It seems like it's a disconnect from the story that's going on Earth.
And I'm reading this and kind of thinking the same thing, that they're doing this and then they're taking the break. But since I started reading this, I keep talking it up. I go back and read the Mirage series, and this entire book is doing the Mirage run at a slower pace, in more details, another way to say it. So they, the Turtles have their first battle with Shredder and find out his history, and then it's only issue 5 in 4, in fact, in the old book. The Turtles find out who the Utroms are and then get sucked out to what is essentially Dimension X, where Professor Honeycutt is hanging out and where these other alien things are. And so the Turtles story goes from Shredder to Mousers to space. And that's kind of exactly what this book did, only it it took 18 issues to do it instead of 4. So it's not surprising me that this is where the book is going. And once again, I mean, you've kind of alluded to it already. Even though we were dealing with a really kind of cheesy thing from the 80s cartoon, the neutrinos as a planet-wide species battling Krang really is kind of cool, and it makes them neat, and it fits them into this world in a way that doesn't make you feel like a 9-year-old reading cheesy comics in an adult body. I guess it works out.
Oh, absolutely, it does work out. And the whole time, not when I was reading it, but now that I'm looking back on it, all as I can picture is that the king, the queen, and the princess, it's like King Randor, Queen Marlena, and Princess Adora. Like, Prince Adam, He-Man is missing. What's going on here? Like, as I'm looking at this art again, it's like, oh my god. Because this king, Zentir, when we first see him with the internal line that's the internal line, it appears our old friend Krang is no longer satisfied with simple occupation of our world. It looks like there was a Masters of the Universe Classics figure that Mattel put out before they put out the original, the real King Randor, the cartoon version of King Randor. They put out this King Randor that, swear to God, dude, it's a double of the Burger King. And I'm looking at this thinking, hey, it's the Burger King, but he's Vulcan. So we have Commander Dask, and I like this, that these guys, like, I love the turn here. They're not just out to have fun, don't care about the war. They are, all 3 neutrinos are in the Resistance. And it's really, really awesome.
Yep.
I think that's great. So we go back to New York City. Donnie, I believe they're at their new lair.
Yep.
And everybody's kind of settling in, and
Donnie's fixing the generator, and
yep. Donnie's fixing the generator. Splinter is meditating. Donnie says, "I know exactly where I want to set up our lab once we get the power up and running." And Splinter's monologue says, a well-oiled machine, finely honed components combining into to form an effective whole. When the individual parts function together as intended, as designed, the result is pure power.
Turtle power. No laugh? Dang, alright. Never mind.
No, I
take
got
it
it.
back.
I got the joke. But should disorder enter the works, then the machine is at risk for malfunction and for failure. And we see the others. We see Mikey, Raph, and Leo. And Leo is also meditating. Raph is, working on his abs. And Mikey, poor Mikey. People always say that they like Mikey because he's the party animal, because he doesn't take anything seriously. Mikey in this, he is that, but he's also very, he's holding this note from Woody, and it's still tearing his heart out.
Yeah, I like that they've made Mikey not the funny comic relief party guy, but he's the turtle with the heart. Mm-hmm. And I think that's ridiculously important to grow that character, because he was the one who annoyed me growing up, because I didn't relate to that kind of not taking anything seriously, so I was annoyed by him. But this, making him have heart and actually enjoy life, I think that's a much more interesting way to handle him than him just being a comic relief character.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you read Casey here, do you hear the old 87 cartoon voice? Do you hear Elias Codius? Or is there any voice in your head when you hear Casey Jones speaking in this at all?
He's probably one of the characters that I have the clearest voice with, and it would be kind of 90s movie Elias Codius. Mm-hmm. I wish is that how to actually say that last name? That just looks like something I've never said out loud in my life.
I believe it is.
Okay,
yeah.
I trust you. I
I'd have
hear
to
kind
look
of that,
up.
but a little higher pitched. New York
Yeah.
accent, totally.
Yeah, because it's, I don't know. I like this Casey. I really do. I think they've really dug into his story, and we've had his whole background to this point, and now we move forward with him being a part of their family. And he goes, "Yo, pizza's here. Ah, Casey Jones, your timing is excellent. Ready to dig in, are you, Master Splinter?" When I read that line, I'm not sure if I hear, you know, purse scrubbing pukes, I just don't know if I might be hearing the whoops when he, at the end of the movie, but yeah. So they all gather around for another family meeting, and I gotta say, Ben Bates does an amazing rap for Splinter. He doesn't look like a dog here.
Yeah. That vial of mutagen that Splinter is putting into his kimono in that shot, that comes up many, many issues later. I completely forgot about it, and now that I'm looking at it, know what happened later because of this. So that thing's important. Don't forget that, Mike.
Okay, I won't forget that. Wow. All right.
Oh, I don't even know where he got it, but he got it from somewhere.
He got it from somewhere. So they're having a meeting, and then we cut back to the planet Neutrino. The important thing about that family meeting is that Splinter considers all of them family. The Turtles are his sons, and then April and Casey are his adoptive children, I guess you could say is the best term I could use for it. Because I'm trying to remember, does April have some... I'm trying to remember, does she have somewhere to go or some... I know she's got her own apartment.
It's not important, and I can spoil this, but she's living in New York, going to school here. I think she's from Northampton, Massachusetts. Her mom and dad live up there. Her dad is a kind of Alzheimer's patient, living at home with lucid mother.
It's better than getting mutated into a bat.
Yep, way better than that.
And that's funny that you mentioned Northampton because that's what Volume 8 is for the trade.
Which is exactly what happens in the old Mirage line. There's a lot of time they spend up in Northampton. Things slow down.
Let me ask you. You've said this whole time that they're basically following what happened in the Mirage line.
Yep.
Do you think that's because Eastman is a part of it? Do you think they're retreading? Because I'm kind of wondering how much of the writing in the story is Waltz's and how much of it is Eastman's, and as far as like the choices and where. Because if you're gonna say to me, when we do City Fall and all that hey, they also did this, I'm like, so wait, they're just retreading the old stuff, really?
There is enough new stuff in this that it's a completely different story. It feels to me more like they're paying homage to it, and everything is just a little bit different. But City Fall is Return to New York. After that is the Northampton run, and it's now that I say that out loud, it's a little out of order, but very similar things are happening. And I think that they're going to have to deviate really soon because they're going to run out of real Mirage Volume 1 stuff. There's interesting gossip I'll talk about at the end of the show between Eastman and Laird. I've through the letters columns I've put together, I think, what happened.
Oh no!
Yep.
You think you know where the dissolution of friendship happened?
Yep, I do.
Oh boy! All right, so we head back to Planet Neutrino. Now, so Planet Neutrino and Planet Ultramanum or Ultramanim or whatever the hell the stupid name of the planet is.
Ultramanomina.
Yeah. Phenomena. Yeah, exactly. So these are two planets within Dimension X, or like how does the name I forget. I can't remember how the name comes into play.
I don't remember if it does. In Mirage World, there's no Dimension X. There's just really, really far away in another part of space, and I think that's what's going on here. But it doesn't really matter. Either it's really far away or it's really close in a parallel dimension, and it doesn't matter. But the point is, you can't get there in a boat.
Yeah, true. All right, so we go back to the planet, and we see Krang is there because he has brought Baxter with him.
Because guess what? I'm a brain and a belly. Deal with it, Baxter.
And I do love how Baxter is just constantly mouthing off to him, where he's like, yes, well, a bit of advanced warning would have been nice. I don't do nice, Stockman. Really? I hadn't noticed.
And I really well. What do you think is your voice for Krang in this? Because I definitely don't hear '80s cartoon Krang when he delivers lines like "I don't do nice."
No, that's really the only. I don't remember the voice from the 03 series. I really need to go back and watch that series again.
Krang wasn't in that, was he? Shredder was the Utrom.
Oh, well, yeah, Shredder was the Utrom. Duh. No, I don't hear Pat Fraley, but I don't know. Like, I don't hear Screaming Mimes from the 2012 series, and I sure as hell don't hear Roseanne. You have seen the season 1 finale, right? Where she shows up as the head Krang.
No,
you haven't seen that.
That was Roseanne Barr.
Oh my god,
or Arnold, or whatever she calls herself. I did see the end with the big brain, but I didn't know that was that her.
Yeah, it was Roseanne Barr. Yep.
No way.
Yep.
Totally need to go watch that again.
So they basically say, let's see here. Let's see. The escaped robot? Yes, I believe these blasted neutrinos know where the Fugitoid is hiding, and before this campaign is through, they will tell me exactly where he is. Then once I have him in my custody again, you will have all the help you require to complete your work. We go to, so Krang is like, Captain Trag, Burno Island, this is Trag, bring us back. Roger, Captain Trag, stand by. Stockman, you stand away from me. I don't want you getting sick on my boots again. So he brings him to Dimension. I'm just gonna call it Dimension X. He brings him to Planet Neutrino. I mean, he brings him to Planet Neutrino, shows him all this stuff, says this stuff about hunting Honeycutt, and then takes him back to Burnow Island. Really? Seriously? That was fairly quickly. And the first time, in what seems like forever, we go to the Foot Clan compound. And Shredder's like, why have you not begun the search, Karai? Your mission to bring me the one called Leonardo. I have begun, Grandfather. Your orders are my priority, as always. And they have a nice little back and forth. I'm slowly getting used to this design for both of them, for Karai and for Shredder. It's just weird to me seeing him without the mask. Mm-hmm. Like the whole point of him, he wears the damn mask all the time until he wants to reveal himself to Splinter and the Turtles. At least that's what I've always thought. And, you know, I'm open-minded to what they're going to do with him in this story. As long as his chest doesn't open up and shows that he's actually an Utrom. I mean, not that I minded that in the 03 series, but this would be a little too strange here.
Secret history of the Foot Clan, man. Oh,
yeah,
man.
We'll get to it.
After looking at this here, I'm surprised Shredder's even eating.
Oh, don't spoil
I won't spoil it.
So, we then go to the park, and Chet and April are there, and April...
Now, I want to know if this is before or after Chet went to the Foot Clan.
Yeah, that's what I want to know, too. Because I would assume it would have to be before. I don't know.
Nothing goes down badly here, I don't think.
Oh, yes, it does.
Flipping head. Well, it goes half bad. Did the Foot Clan show up?
No, the Foot Clan didn't show up.
Okay.
Krang showed. The neutrinos show up. the neutrinos follow Krang because they're looking for Professor Honeycutt. Dax, Zach, and or Dask or whatever the hell his name is, Zach and Kara. They all show up. And I love this battle between the neutrinos and the turtles. They're like, who the hell is Fugitoid? Or who the hell is Honeycutt? He is. Who? Him! And they're talking about Chet. So Casey's whole thing in this is he wants to protect April because he doesn't think she can take care of herself. She's a woman living alone in New York City, Casey. Come on. They can always take care of themselves.
Yeah, but these are aliens with laser blasters.
No,
I'm not justifying that. She
wouldn't be any different than some old lady having an alien laser blaster. And, back away, punks. So the turtles and the neutrinos are still fighting, and they disappear in a foom. They are gone. They are sucked through time and space or wherever the hell, and they are sucked into Planet Neutrino, Neutrino Resistance Fighters Command Center.
And the rock soldiers are waiting.
Mm-hmm. That's, usually how it is. You head towards a giant moon, it's going to shoot its tractor beam at you. So, this is interesting because you have the rock soldiers fighting the neutrinos, you have the neutrinos fighting the rock soldiers, and you have the turtles fighting the neutrinos, and the neutrinos fighting. It's like a six-way battle here.
Mm-hmm.
It's really awesome. The art is great.
And the turtles are completely not out of their skill level, but they're just witlessly, oh my god, what did we just walk into? We're mutant turtles in the middle of this war in a place we've never seen before.
Yep, pretty much.
April and Casey didn't come with them. Just Professor Honeycutt and the turtles.
I don't know how that worked, because they were all right there.
I think Casey took out April and moved her away, and that's why he wasn't nearby with her.
Yeah, and this is really where we get the confusion. Again, with the Honeycutt. Who is that? The Fugitoid. The what now? And I can't... Oh, that's Donnie that says that. Man, I'm sick of getting shot at. And Mikey's kicking ass, and they get the all clear, and we all settle down, and they figure out... They basically figure out that they're on the same side and whatever else, and we go back to April, Casey, and Splinter, and she basically, Master Splinter's there cleaning up at the shop, and they tell them that the turtles have disappeared, and he says it's all his fault, and again, he is responsible, and
Splinter freaks out.
That's a rat, ladies and gentlemen. That's a rat. And April and Casey are just speechless. Like there's,
it's the Raphael and Splinter, the attitude, the anger.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then April and Casey are like, let's really never piss him off, please.
Yeah. Let's just slowly back away out of the room. I'm going to put this stuff down, and we're going to let you go meditate, Master Splinter. So we then go back to Neutrino. And more fighting, and Some girl is screaming, put me down, you bully, I have her, let's go, we're done here. By the creator, it's the princess. I said let me go, and Mikey's like,
Princess?
Princess? And you know what the sad thing is? All I can think of is, well, excuse me,
I
princess.
know. That's exactly the voice. I read that. She looks like Princess Zelda to me.
Zelda. Yeah, a little bit.
Neutrino
Well,
princess.
she is wearing the pink.
And the blonde. And...
Yep.
So Mike's looking to have himself a Star Wars moment and takes off after
the
foot soldier to rescue her.
Yep. And his little trick doesn't really work since the soldier is made of stone.
This would be neat to see a live action scene. Mikey leaps into the troop transport carrier as it's taking off with the princess. Totally annihilates 4 rock soldiers in there. And then in a glorious panel with backlighting and glare and glint, Michelangelo rescues the princess and leaps out of the departing transport.
Yep. Now the leap that you're talking about, that's basically what that page where he's leaping out of the transport, that's the image that is the very first page when you open the trade. So it's that they basically took that image, enlarged it, and made it the volume 5 first page. Back here. So yeah, he goes and rescues the princess, and I don't know. I get flashes of like, hey, did J.J. Abrams have something to do with this? Because of that that flash of light
the
there.
lens flare.
The lens flare. Lens flare in comics. No! It's not that bad. I mean, I'm not going to take a point off of it. I actually kind of like it. I think it's really cool in this.
It's cute. And in a way that you can kind of see inside Michelangelo's psyche to what he thinks it all looks like, being heroic, rescuing a princess like that.
Yep. And the rock soldiers are like, she escaped, forget her, we have the other two. The princess is like, Mom, Dad, no! And then we go back to Stockgen. And Casey and April's sneaking in again. What is this, like the 5th time she's snuck into this place?
Gee, guys, do you really think we should fire that O'Neill woman?
Yeah.
We found her in restricted areas like 4 times, and she keeps coming in smelling like turtle or something.
Yeah. So she has this exchange with this other coworker, and she basically gets her to talk about Burnow Island and General Krang, and the interesting thing here is Karai is spying on Stockgen, which I'm not sure. I don't think Shredder has met Stockman yet, has he?
Nope.
So, are they basically setting that up with Karai stalking Stockgen?
In a way, I don't think. My memory says I don't think that they've made the connection yet, a relationship between Baxter and Shredder yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there. It could happen very easily. So I think we're okay.
Yeah. So we then go back to Planet Neutrino, and we figure out that Chet is Professor Honeycutt.
The look on the turtles' faces, with the jaws dropping. Michelangelo, sick.
Look at Donnie. Look at Donnie's the same. Like Leo. Leo is the same. Raph is the same, and Donnie is the same. Mikey, he's frowning in the first panel. When he says sick, he's kind of smiling.
That's classic. I really like that panel.
That's a pretty awesome panel. Dude, Jet's totally a robot. I know, Mikey, it's amazing. And then Raph's like, okay, well, the nerd twins drool all over themselves. I still got questions, like, where are we and how the heck is Chet a stinking robot? And Leo, and for once and for all, who is Krang? And then Zach basically just goes off on them. And they give the history of the Utroms and how Chet became basically what we've already seen kind of a little bit in the one shot.
Hey, there's a Krang there that has glasses and a tuning fork head like the 80s cartoon. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice little nod.
Supreme Commander Quain, heir to Quain. Huh. I wonder if that's Krang's dad from a later book.
Possibly, yeah. Well, no, they mention his dad here, don't they?
It might be. I am browsing for the actual line.
Yeah. I think they do later. So we get the princess saying, that is why my father sent Commander Das to get you. Either we stop Krang now or all is lost. This image of her here, she looks like a cross between Zelda and Sailor Moon. Mikey, Donnie's like, he looks so pink and squishy. Gross. Oh, Mikey. See, that's the thing. Like, Mikey can be a party animal, but he can also be just fun-loving, and I think that's what this Mikey is. He is all three. He's a party animal, he's fun-loving, and he's also serious when he wants to be. So we get Krang going off. That's a nice little angry Krang design. And we so let's see, what does he do? He does he says, this is your last warning, cretins, of Neutrino. Either you provide me with the Fugitoid's location by this time tomorrow, or your beloved king and queen will die, followed by the rest of you pathetic world shortly. And he basically turns off the TV, and we go, damn you, Krang! And Zach, this Zach is way more violent.
All three of them are.
Yeah, he shoots the TV.
I think I'm on to my next book. I think that was issue 19 here.
I think so. I haven't seen...
Yep, there we are.
Chapter 3 is issue 19. Yep. Well, wait. So if we're starting into issue 19, let's see here. The page where we leave off. Let's see.
My first page here is
right.
Yeah. Is Krang's monologue.
Yeah. That's not very much of a. I don't know. That's not very much of a cliffhanger. For.
Well, he had the gun pointed at their heads in my last panel.
That's not. I mean, that's exactly what I have too, but that's not exactly. It's not a very good cliffhanger, but so we find out that's they need the Fugitoid and need him to work for them, and I'm still loving this. Ben Bates is doing amazing stuff here. I mean, the turtles all look so... No offense to any of the other artists. The other artists have been great too, but now that we're 19 issues or, 5 trades into this thing, they all look so much better. So much better designed, and I think it's because, at least for me, they all look, more like the animated designs than they do as far as the coloring goes. Like Donnie's bandana and Leo's bandana, all the bandanas have never been this bright before. It's the coloring is just amazing.
I'm sneaking ahead because I have a feeling this artist is only on this story arc and then he goes away forever.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. So we get to Karai, and she's ended up on Burnow Island. We then go to Splinter, Casey, and April. They're trying to figure out, what's going on with the turtles, where they went, what is Baxter Stockman doing at this place.
With this General Krang guy, who's this weird shadowy thing with the...
Yep. Brain in his chest.
Only, I don't think they know that yet, do they?
No.
Nope.
No. I don't think Splinter, Casey, and April know that
No.
yet, but the turtles do.
Dude, it's pink and squishy.
Yeah. So we get to Burnow Island, and Karai basically dispatches the guards, and she captures one of them to take her to where she wants to go.
Don't do it, she's gonna kill you.
Yeah. We then go back to Planet Neutrino, and we see that Professor Honeycutt has found his friend, what's his name? Oh God, what is his name? Felix. So he's found his buddy Felix, and he's alive. What's interesting here is how the turtles all go their own ways.
Yeah.
Because they have a different... Each of them have... Like, Donnie needs to stay and help, and Leo and Raph go to help Dask and Zach, and Mikey stays with the princess.
Of course he does. Yeah, that has me interested too. No, I don't think any of our listeners will probably not be reading Volume 4. Mikey totally shags some alien princess in the comic. Like,
you mean the old Mirage comic?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mike's a daddy.
Oh my God, no, don't do that. Don't fucking do that. Oh God, I have to sleep tonight, Thank you very much.
I couldn't believe they went there. Like, really? That has not resolved. They haven't gotten. I mean, the rest of the issues are nearly impossible to find, so I haven't read them. But yikes, it was kind of scary.
Wow.
They're 35 by that point. They're not teenage anymore, but still.
That's a little creepy. I mean,
Merry Christmas.
It would be different if it was a little mini Mikey inside a human body, like in Men in Black. It would be different if it was something like that. But you know what? No offense to the old stuff, but I'm so glad I am not reading that right now, because that would just scar me for life.
Yeah, that's about how I feel, man.
I don't know what's worse, that or any of the Freddy Krueger or Jason movies. All right, so we get to this whole thing where they're each splitting up. Raph is doing what he does best. He's gonna fight, and he's sitting on the gun, sitting on the gun barrel. It's an awesome shot. So Raph's like, "I'll see you when the butt kicking's done, bro." And he's like, and Leo's like, "You better." And they're all in communication with each other, and I love this shot of Donnie and the Professor where he says, "I must thank you both again. Having a functional voice box is beyond relief. I feel like a new robot." Sure thing, Professor. I love that shot of Donnie. 'Cause, I don't know, it's always been interesting to me to see how Donnie moves as a ninja with the staff still in its holster or sheath or whatever you want to call it.
That's a whole lot harder to do in real life. It's harder enough to walk around with one of those in your hand.
Yeah. So we get some nice moments between them. Again, the art is spectacular. Like, I love this artist. No colors are out of place from Rhonda Pattison, and Bates's art is just simply amazing. We get to Karai back on Burnow Island, and
I warned you she was going to kill you.
Yep, she's going to kill him. And when she kills him, she finds the brains. Any way you slice this is madness. Our chances of surviving this attack are about 1,000,000 to 1. And we have some really great battle scenes. And Krang's just going off his rocker. Well, idiots, they would rather face me in open battle than just give me the wretched robot.
I forgot why Krang wants him. Is it to build the...
It's to work on the Technodrome with Baxter, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's to work on the Technodrome
yes,
with Baxter.
It was to build the teleporter, but no, Krang already has one of those. He doesn't need... Because that's what they were after him for in the old book, is he was the one building the teleporters. And they needed that technology to teleport warheads places.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't do it.
Yeah. And again, I know I've thrown a lot of references out in this episode of the podcast, but all as I can think of when Mikey says this, "Just stay close to me, princess. I've done this like a zillion times." All I can think of is Hot Rod and RC in the '86 movie. You better stay close to me, RC. He says basically the same line, and then she reverses it on him because he nearly gets shot, and she saves him. She's like, "No, you better stay close to me." So, like I said, really amazing battle scenes. Again, the colors just explode off the page with these battles. Absolutely awesome. And it's pretty much a battle. It's not. I mean, they are saying stuff and they are doing stuff as far as the story. But I mean, it's.
That stuff's got to be a pain in the neck to draw and plot and paste. Like, I don't know how you.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sketch those.
Yeah. No, I don't know. But it's just absolutely amazing. So we then get back to the command center, and we have Donatello and Honeycutt working on. Excuse me. We have them working on adjustments have to be precise if this end missile has any chance of working. So they're working on what I assume is their version of EMP. And Donnie is saying, "This technology really blowing my mind. All the things you've invented, Professor. It's so amazing. Heck, even the stuff you said you did at Stockton. I mean, even if you really think about it, you invented my family too." So that's an interesting way of going about the whole reincarnation thing. So we get this giant missile, and it's got to go into battle.
It looks like a Predator drone to me.
Yeah, pretty much. So we get that. We get more battle scenes. We get a scene with Krang and Zach and Raph are like, yeah, this could definitely be a problem. We then go back to Burnow Island, and Karai has absconded with a vial of ooze.
Killing an Utrom in a test tube in the process.
Yep.
That won't make Krang happy.
Nope. I was half expecting the ooze to say TGRI on it. I really was. Because if you look at the canister that's in her hand, it looks exactly like the canister from the second
Yeah! That's interesting. It's totally stock gen, and I'm sorry, listeners, that I keep referring to that Mirage run. It's fresh in my brain. The TCRI, Techno Cosmic Research Industries in the comic was the Utrom. The Utroms invented the ooze. It was a waste byproduct that they accidentally let out, and here I guess it's an intentional thing, but from just stock gen and Chet having produced it. So it's kind of interesting. I wonder if somehow TGRI or TCRI is going to show up here.
That would be interesting to see if they would. That would be very, very interesting. Alright, so we go back to the battle, and the battle is going fairly well, and Leo throws a bunch of old CDs at Krang. What?
They're ninja stars spinning really fast.
That's bull.
No, see, because they hit Krang's glass in the next shot.
Okay, yeah, but they look like compact discs. They really do.
I guess so. When I'm making that indie film with my friends, if I want to look like I'm throwing a ninja star really fast, I just throw CDs at the camera.
Throw CDs, yeah. Pretty much. And then CGI in the actual star later. Yeah.
Clang! It's an AOL disc. What's that?
Oh God.
A beautiful shot of Leo landing down there. That's a nice shot.
Yeah. Mikey's like, dang it, he's still coming. Nothing's gonna stop but ugly brain boy. And all I hate to make this reference, but all I can think of is that damn Starship song. So we get this is where we get Leo and Mikey.
That's a gorgeous page.
Yeah, this is where we get them fighting Krang, and this is the front cover that I have to open the book.
Mm-hmm.
Not the main cover before the trade titles, but the actual cover that they use before the first issue starts, before issue 17 starts. So that's the image that they used for the first cover there. So we get to Kala and the king. Dask asking him if he's all right. We get to this thing just doesn't give up, and they got to figure it out. Again, the art, and oh my God, what did you say that thing looked like earlier?
A predator drone.
Predator drone, yeah.
They're gonna crash Soundwave into it.
Oh, damn it! You beat me to it. Good old Transformers Prime Time. Oh boy. Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder if it's gonna transform. Crossover. So this Predator drone comes in, and we have Krang basically saying, "My people's destiny will not be denied. Please stay down, your majesties. We must guard you." Nonsense. I've already told you we are fine. And it's back and forth, and then Dask basically gets shot to hell by a stone soldier. I believe that's Captain Trag. Now, this is one thing I wish they would have done with this. Just call Krang the evil warlord or whatever, and have Trag be the damn general. It always confuses the hell out of me. I don't know.
Trag's due for a promotion. It'll happen.
Yeah, you think? Yeah. Yeah, Trag's due for a promotion. So they've got nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The Predator drone basically goes off.
And it's a magic EMP where nobody's shooting anymore.
That's yeah. I kind of figured that's what it was going to be. And that's what it was. Hey, there's Raph. Thank God. Bro, I never thought I'd be so happy to see a bunch of super nerds in a space car. God, it's so funny. So we get all of this. We get all this, and Krang still wants the Fugitoid, and he's going to go with him. Donnie objects, obviously. And Honeycutt says, "Farewell, my friends." And Trag asks, "And your other troops, General? Leave those cowards to rot in this dung heap for all I care. I'll just make a new army." Boom! And they're gone. So we get to Mikey and Raph. Wow, crazy day. You ain't kidding, little bro. Commander, you're wounded. He'll end up being fine. Everybody shakes hands, and everybody's all right, and everybody's fine. We get back to Casey and April, and looks like they're gonna have a moment. And all I can think of is the end of the first film. That's all I can think of right here.
9.95. All right, Casey.
Yeah. What the? Cripes, Casey. That anyway that greet your long lost pals, and they're all back and everything else, and Leo basically goes up and hugs his father, and that's pretty much how this arc ends. Is wait till we tell you where we've been. Overall, I love this story. I was really conflicted when I first started reading it, like to actually read the book. I'm like, oh, no, because see, here's the thing. I got so hooked into the Shredder story of him thinking that Leo is going to be his new second in command. And I'm like, okay, where is that? When is that going to happen? Come on now. And then they give us this, and I loved every minute of this. It was a fun, Turtles in Space kind of ride. I thought it was great. In the trade, we have the art gallery, which I know you're going to be jealous of.
You just got to scan it for me.
Yeah, I don't have a scanner, sadly. So we've got a cover that is Dask versus the Turtles, and he's got Leo on. It's basically homage. It's doing two homages. Remember the very first scene when the Turtles fight the Foot Soldiers in the '87 cartoon? When it's the one where Raph goes, Clang? Did you say Clang? And Donnie's like, dudes, nuts, they're robots. And Mikey's like, robots, let's... So it's got him, like, bursting out with two nunchucks like that shot. And it's got Dask over Leo with his gun pointed at his face, kind of like what Shredder was doing in the '90 film to Leo at the end.
Yeah, I saw that and thought of that.
Yep. The next one is basically Planet Neutrino with Krang on 3 different TVs. It's got a bunch of flying vehicles, the Turtles, the Fugitoid, all fighting.
Yeah, those are my covers.
Oh, are they? Okay. The next one, we've got Mikey and Donnie? Yeah. Mikey and Donnie and Leo and Raph and Casey are all in the bushes while we look on to April, while they're looking on to April and Chet talking in the park. So that's an interesting shot. And then I believe this is the last one, or second to last? Yeah, it's second to last. Oh, I can't wait to talk about one of the ones coming up. We've got... let's see, page and opposite. Both of these covers are done by Eastman, colors by Rhonda Pattinson, or Pattison, sorry. And the second cover is basically a red sky neutrino with blue laser blasts all over the place and fighting. And we've got Art by Andy Kuhn with Krang in the background. Krang in the foreground in his robot body. In the background is all the green Krang brains. The opposite page art is by Mark Torres, and it's Michelangelo. It's basically, what if Michelangelo was the baby on Nirvana's Nevermind? It's basically
man.
Oh my god, I love it. This is my favorite cover out of all of them. It's him as the baby with his nunchucks and everything. He's not a baby, but it's, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's homaging that. And instead of whatever the original thing was on the album cover, it's somebody has a piece of pizza as the fishing lure.
Who's the artist of this?
Mark Torres, Torres. It's simply amazing. That is by far my favorite cover out of all of them.
Oh, I see it. Oh man,
that is so nice. I'm like, hey, never mind. That is so cool. The final two are done. Oh no, there's more. Sorry, not final two. Next two are done by Ben Bates. One of them is the Turtles and the Neutrinos fighting. The next one is Krang holding their bandanas like he's conquered them. And then we get the one by Nick Patara, which is the main cover of the trade, the Krang thing in the city. The opposite page is done by Langoon Foss, I assume is how that's pronounced. And let's see, the final actual cover by Eastman is Leo fighting Krang. In the background is Planet Neutrino. And then there's a Shredder sketch. There's actually several sketches. There's a Shredder sketch, there's Casey and Kurai sketches, there's Turtle sketches. The Shredder sketch makes me want purple and black and gray Shredder in this. And that's pretty much it. Overall, I loved this. I thought this was great. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this when I first started reading it, because it was basically a mishmash of what's going on Neutrino and what's going on back in New York, but it was damn good. I really dug it.
Yeah, I think the Turtles that I like the best are the ones where they're dealing with foot soldiers in New York and that drama, and I'm less inclined to appreciate it when they go out to space or when the really weird psychedelic stuff starts to happen. But what I do appreciate about this is that it brought such a big chunk of the 80s cartoon to this and made it cool.
Yeah.
Because that 80s, that's garbage now. I mean, we all love it because we grew up with it, and it was how I got introduced to Ninja Turtles. But it's very difficult to watch as an adult, and the initials on the belts. I mean, really? And so.
Oh, I didn't even. Oh, you mean for the cartoon?
Yeah.
See, I like the initials on the belts because you have to be able to tell them apart.
I don't know. The color's enough for me, but and the colored elbow pads, that's a lot too. But the point of all of that is that they brought something so cheesy to this comic, to this whole world, and made it amazing. Like everything that they do with the story, they pulled it out, I think.
Yeah, they absolutely did. I thought it was absolutely great. So for this trade, I thought everything came together well. The story came together well. The art, the colors came together well. There are a few times where Krang kind of just freaked me out and how he was designed. Necessarily it's a bad thing, but I don't know. I'll give this a 4 out of 5.
I agree. I kind of didn't think I would be doing that, giving a 4 to this book, but yep, that's where it is.
I mean, because honestly, the big stuff, the stuff that we've been waiting for, is coming. I mean, we're almost at City Fall, because the next, let me see here in this all important reading order. Okay, so next time, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have to do this again because I gotta do it in trade. But we're gonna have to do this again. I might be able to find the singles. I don't know. If I can find the singles, it'll be easier. But next time around, we're gonna do Villain Micro Series Part 1, which is Krang and Baxter. And then in the same episode, we're gonna do the Secret History of the Foot Clan, issues 1 through 4. And then after that is City Fall.
Yay! If you and our listeners have a chance to go dig up some of the old Mirage run, the Return to New York is one of the best very short arcs in the old Mirage line. Definitely worth reading. But it concludes where it concludes a set of issues that the first live-action movie was based on. And so you have the fight in the antique store. That's where that occurs and where things go south from there. But they're relatively common issues, and so it's worth peeking at.
Absolutely. All right, so that's going to do it for us here in this Back Issue Classics. I think coming up next, we're going to have the Pullbag Underbase crossover with Transformers Windblade issue number 2. After that, we might head back to Gotham City to see what Batgirl is up to. And then later on this month in June, we might go get some punishment. So for now, I am TF Joe Mike with
Joe Reed.
Make it your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullbag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you're leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.